I am Eliza Monroe, 29 years old and living in Portland, Oregon, a city that loves rain and coffee, and a steady beat of music that never seems to stop even when the clouds are heavy. I work as a freelance photographer, and I love to capture the bright colors of the city, especially during the annual Pride parade where the streets turn into a river of rainbow flags and smiling faces. I have always felt a deep pride in being part of that celebration, because it reminds me of the freedom I fought for after a difficult childhood, where I learned to stand up for myself. After my parents left me to fend for my own, when I was 16, I grew into a strong woman who knows how to hold her own in a crowd. I also have a husband named Daniel who loves to take random pictures of me as we walk through the parade. He says it is his way of keeping a memory of the day. And I love how his eyes light up when he snaps a photo. I have a small group of friends who join us on the day, and we split into two teams to make sure we do not lose each other in the sea of people. The plan is simple. We walk side by side, wave at strangers, and enjoy the music that blares from the stages set up along the route. On the third hour of the parade, I felt a sudden tug on my bag as I reached out to greet a friend who was waving from a nearby float. I turned around quickly only to find that my phone was gone. My heart dropped, because that phone held not only my pictures, but also the contact information for my clients and a few personal messages I kept for my mother who lives far away. I felt a wave of panic rise inside me, and I looked at Daniel with a mixture of anger and fear. He told me to stay calm, and that we could maybe find it in the photos he had taken earlier. I felt a flicker of hope, because I remembered that Daniel had taken a series of pictures of me waving and smiling. While we walked through the crowd, I pulled out his camera, and we started scrolling through the images, hoping to see the moment when the phone slipped out of my pocket. What we saw made my blood run cold. A woman in a bright flag-covered jacket had slipped her hand inside my purse as if she were reaching for a snack. She covered her hand with a small rainbow flag that fluttered as she moved. I could see the exact second she lifted her hand, and the phone disappeared from my pocket. I felt a surge of anger rise like a fire. I could not let this thief walk away with my life's work. I told Daniel we needed to find her, and we split up with the rest of our friends to cover more ground. We walked block after block, eyes scanning the crowd for the bright flag that had betrayed my trust. We finally spotted her a few blocks down near a food truck, selling tacos. She was laughing with a friend, and the flag was still on her arm. I felt my stomach twist as I approached the police officers who were patrolling the parade. I showed them the photos on Daniel's phone and explained that we knew exactly where the thief was. I could see the surprise on the officers' faces, because they had never seen such clear evidence from a civilian. I felt a small triumph, but also a deep fear that the thief might escape. I watched as the officers approached the woman. She tried to hide the flag, but it slipped from her arm and fell to the ground like a bright warning sign. The police questioned her for a long time. She seemed nervous and kept looking at the flag as if it were a scarlet letter. I thought we had finally caught her, but then she told the officers that she had not taken my phone. She had simply taken a cheap replica that looked like mine, and that she had already handed it over to a friend who claimed to have found it on the corner of 14th Street and 6th Avenue. The officers seemed confused and asked me to wait while they went to collect the phone. I felt a strange knot in my chest, because I had hoped this would end with justice. But now I was being told that the thief had already given the phone away. When the officers returned, they handed me a phone that looked exactly like mine. The screen was cracked, and the case was scuffed. I knew instantly it was not my phone. I felt wave of humiliation crash over me. I had been duped by a thief who was clever enough to use a fake phone as a decoy, and I felt my whole world tilt into darkness. I thought about how I had lost my client's contacts, my mother's messages, and my own sense of safety. I felt helpless and angry at the same time. I thought about the police who had arrested the woman, but then let her go because they could not prove she had my phone. I felt the police were useless, and the thief had gotten away with a crime that hurt me deeply. I went home that night feeling empty. I could not sleep. I stared at the ceiling and thought about the flag that had been the clue to my loss. I realized that I could not let this go. I could not let a woman who used a rainbow flag to hide her hand walk away with my dignity. I decided that I would get my revenge not by hurting her, but by exposing her to the whole city. I would use my photography skills to turn her flag into a symbol of shame. Rather than pride, I would capture her in a moment where she could not hide. The next day, I bought a new phone and a small portable camera. I returned to the parade route early in the morning before the crowds arrived. I set up a small table near the place where the thief had been caught and placed a sign that said, "Lost phone, return for reward." I placed my own phone on the table with a note that said, "If you have my phone, please give it back. I will pay you." I knew the thief would see the sign because she liked to watch the crowd, and she would think I had found a new opportunity to get a phone. I waited for hours. The sun rose, and the city woke up. I watched as people passed by. Some stopped to look. Some laughed at the sign. I felt a strange calm settle over me. I was no longer angry. I was patient. I knew that the thief would come back, because she had already shown she could not resist a chance to profit from a lost phone. Later in the afternoon, a woman with a bright flag on her arm approached the table. She looked nervous, her eyes darting around as if she feared being seen. I felt my heart pound as I stepped forward and asked her if she was looking for a phone. I told her I had a phone that matched the description of a lost device, and that I would give her a small amount of money if she would give me the real one back. I could see the flag trembling on her sleeve. I could see the guilt in her eyes. She hesitated, and then whispered that she had a phone that looked like mine. But it was not mine. I asked her to show me the phone. She handed me a device that looked exactly like mine, but with a small crack on the corner. I could see the same scuff marks that the police had shown me earlier. I felt a surge of triumph, because I now had proof that she had indeed swapped my phone for a fake. I took out my camera and snapped a picture of her hand, holding the flag and the fake phone. I whispered that I would send this picture to the police and to the online community that follows the parade. I could see her face turn pale as she realized that I had caught her in the act. I felt a wave of power rise inside me. I was no longer a victim. I was the one holding the evidence. I walked to the nearest police station with the photo and the fake phone. I told the officer on duty that I had proof that the woman had stolen my phone and that she had tried to pass off a counterfeit device as mine. I showed him the picture of the flag and the hand inside my purse and the fake phone she had given me. I could see the officer's eyes widen as he realized the depth of the deception. I felt a strange satisfaction as the officer called for backup and the woman was taken into custody again, this time with clear evidence. The police thanked me for my persistence, and they finally recovered my actual phone from a trash bin near the corner of 14th Street and 6th Avenue. The device was dirty, but still functional. I could breathe again. I called my mother and told her I was okay, and that the city had finally given me justice. I felt a warm feeling of closure as I looked at the recovered phone in my hand. In the weeks that followed, I posted the photo of the flag-covered hand on a local community board and on a social media page that warned people about pickpockets at public events. I wrote a short story about how a flag can be used for both pride and deceit. I received messages from strangers who thanked me for the warning, and from a few who said they had seen the same woman before, and that she was part of a larger ring of thieves who used festivals to steal. My revenge was not a violent act, but a clever turn of events that turned the thief's own tool against her. Learned that the best way to fight a thief is not with anger, but with evidence and patience. I also learned that the city's police can be slow, but they will act when presented with clear proof. I now walk the streets of Portland with a new confidence. I still love the Pride Parade, but now I keep a close eye on my purse, and I keep my camera ready to capture any flag that might hide a hand. I have turned my loss into a lesson for the whole community, and I have reclaimed my sense of safety and pride in my own cleverness. The story ends with a twist when the woman was finally released on bail, and she sent me a note that said, "You won this round, but the flag will always fly." I laughed because I knew that the flag was just a piece of cloth, and I was the one who could decide how it was used. I walked away from the incident feeling stronger and ready for whatever the next parade might bring.